Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video we're going to take a look at Shadow Politoed. Well, this Pokemon is never really used nowadays. I do actually think this Pokemon is actually quite a lot of play and we're going to see it here today as well. The reason for this is, recently Bubble got buffed, like already a few seasons back, to be fair, like 3 or 4 at this point. But basically everybody is just using a Zero or is running something like the Jellicent maybe with this move. But unlike those two Pokemon, the Politoed actually has one benefit, or maybe even two. Like, this Pokemon has great coverage in Ice Beam, or if you want to have a little bit more damage, even Blizzard, and Earthquake. Here we're running Ice Beam, which, to be fair, I don't know if this was the right choice. I feel like Earthquake would have had a lot of play as well, maybe. But the main benefit of Politoed is the pacing, because you have access to the 35 energy move of a Weather Ball. And this makes this way different, because all of a sudden, you have a Pokemon with Bubble that is Stab and that is doing a lot of damage, that is going to be able to, get to charge moves very fast and pressure opponents really fast. And to be fair, I saw Politoed and I was like, why did never ever anybody try to use this Pokemon with a Bubble before? As Mudshot got recently nerfed, of course, like Mudshot is still recommended on PvPoke, which I don't really agree with, but as we'll see as well, we do some solid damage with Bubble. We still have the bulk to easily tank a Dynamic Punch here. And we have the pacing that we can easily get to a Weather Ball in time to knock out the first opponent, and this is going to happen quite often here today. And so we're going to move on to the next opponent. We're going to have a great lead here of Wigglytuff against the opponent's Primeape. They swap out into the Digger Spear, allowing us to get into our Politoed, and here's the big benefit of Politoed again. Oh wow, we have now Water type Fast Move and Charge Move Pressure, which other Water type Pokemon like the Feraligatr only have as their Charge Moves. Most Water type Pokemon are lacking the Water type Fast Move Pressure, and this is not one of them. Politoed is here to do a ton of damage and get 2 shields from the opponent already. We can use a shield here as well. They have to go for a Scorching Sands in order to knock us out. They go for the Fire Punch bait, but we can still go for another Weather Ball. And all of a sudden, we're going to be able to align ourselves, knock them out, and have also, at this point, a shield advantage. But not only this, we can even go for another Weather Ball against the Primeape. And so, I feel like this already shows you on how kind of misunderstood this Pokemon is, but also this shows you that you shouldn't swap out your Wigglytuff into a Poison type Pokemon. That was kind of silly. I want to of course snipe the opponent there, but this definitely did not work out whatsoever. And so we're going to be in a very tough spot now. We have to kind of hope that we're going to be able to win with our Feraligatr. But it is going to be a very tough one. If we didn't swap out of here, this game would have been over already. Like, a game would have been immediately over if we didn't swap out here against the opponent. But, they all swap onto the Primeape. I have to hope that I can now knock them out here with another fast move. Please be enough. It is enough. And now we have to still reach 2 Hydro Cannons in order to have a chance of knocking them out. And as you can see here, I reach one, but I'm not too sure if this was a CMP tie or not. We have to find out here shortly. It is not. And so we're going to be able to win this battle here, and we can move on to the next opponent. Well, let's see what it's going to be. It's going to be another Wigglytuff here against us. This is not going to be ideal for us because we kind of have an ABB set dial line and we kind of want to keep our lead alive. But it is okay. We're going to still here go ahead and go for another charge move. It's going to be okay. It's going to be a Swift coming through, and we're going to see the Marowak coming in as well. And we can now try to go for the swap here into our Politoed, doing some solid damage. Here you see me shielding. This is just to guarantee that I can align myself, because I should be able to always win this matchup. But the opponent can put me into a range where, like, they can knock me out basically after one more bone ring. And so we should be able to just go for the full farmer now at this point, get a ton of energy, and we end up with over 2 Weather Balls and make a mistake here. Or, I guess, I don't think I was even able to swap out there, but the opponent wins the CMP tie, which is really annoying. Now I'm forced to go into my own Wigglytuff, because guess what? We're going to have a Shadow Claw user in the back. And I go for the Swift here, which is the only way of basically trying to get the opponent into range for 1 Hydro Cannon. And that's going to be fine, but now we have to hope that I can go for 2 Hydro Cannons in time. It is going to be a bit of a trickier one here. Can we do it? So, Earth Power, no, actually not. It's going to be a Body Slam that's coming through. That might be even a little bit better for us. It gives us the chance of maybe actually winning this battle, as long as we're going to get 2 Hydro Cannons off against them. But the issue is here, the opponent is going to be in a position now where they're most likely going to be able to swap out, and they can swap out, and this is going to be game over, because they're going to be able to catch that move onto the Wigglytuff, and while this Pokemon goes down, we just don't have enough health left for our Wigglytuff to knock out the opponent here, and so we're going to lose this one and move on to the next opponent. Drapion here is gonna be next against us. Of course, we kinda want to swap out. It is not a great matchup, but actually Politoed has a very solid matchup against this Pokemon because guess what? You're going to be able to do some solid damage with a Bubble and also the Weather Ball. And this is the thing as well. Like a lot of times, especially with Politoed, you're going to be able to pressure opponents into one Weather Ball range thanks to the Shadow Bubble damage, and this is kinda crazy. So again, like, do I expect that a lot of people are gonna jump onto this Pokemon now? I don't really think so, because most people are most likely too scared for it, but I honestly think that Politoed with the fast move of our Bubble as a Shadow variant especially is going to be a very cool Pokemon. And then again, we have to see which charge move is going to be best for it. I could actually see that, especially for this team, Earthquake would be a bit better, because Earthquake going to give you coverage, and then again as well against Poison type Pokemon, which are quite common. And so, yeah, Politoed, I feel like, has a lot of play currently. And as you'll see now, Politoed against the rest of the opponent's team, it's going to be a bit of a tough one. We're going to use a shield here straight away against the opponent's awkward tail. They're going to go for the bait here. That's a great play. But at this point, I have to commit. I have to commit all my shields. It's going to be a crunch now coming through. And we try to go for actually the Weather Ball here. This is going to allow us to get the KO if they're gonna let the move go through, which they do. They have a Digger Spear in the back, and sadly, just because I lost like all of those shields already, it's going to be a bit of a tough one. We are basically down health here, which is going to be the main issue. We have to try to get to one or more Weather Ball afterwards in order to actually knock them out. And this is going to be a bit of an issue, so let's see on how this is gonna go. The opponent is gonna go for the Scorching Stance, and it sadly just does just a tiny bit too much damage against us, and we're gonna move on to the next opponent. Okay, we're going to have a Gaston here. Gaston is going to be a bit of a tough one. I will go for the Hydro Cannon here, and we're gonna see the swap out into the Dugong, which is actually okay, because at the end of the day, I don't really mind this matchup too much, and it's best to have it here compared to what we had with our Pokemon in the back. For example, Politoed just does do resisted damage. Here at least the fast move is going to be doing some solid damage as well. And so we're going to be able to at least get some nice pressure onto the opponent, and we should be able to even stop out of here. They can go for the Ice Wind, I'm fully aware of this, but we still should be kind of okay here, as we will see that the opponent is going to go back into the Gaston. We should be able to take a hit, and we actually decided to use a shield here. Against the Earth Ball, I guess it was a great shield from me, because now I can go for the full farm down. And I have nice Ice stored for whatever wants to come in next. It is going to be the Warren. I thought it was the other Pokemon, but it's still the Warren here. It's going to be a double Water Ice backline for the opponent. And we can stop out here, because I was debuffed already. I kind of wanted to, get a bit of, basically the reset of the debuff, of course, which does make a lot of sense. And so we have 3 Pokemon left. We have some Weather Balls to spam against the opponent here, and of course they're going to fear the potential of Earthquake. But we see also we have a very, very solid bulk on the Politoed, and a Pure Water typing is actually kind of great in the current meta. You see it with Feraligatr, Pure Water type definitely going to help out quite a bit. But as you will see as well, we're going to try our best to go for that Swift here against the opponent. It's going to do some neutral damage. Is it going to be enough to knock them out? It is still not enough. They can swap onto the Dugong, but we can knock them out here. They're going to go for the full farm down here, very likely, but no, they're actually just going to go down somehow. Next on, we're going to have the Typhlosion. Typhlosion is going to be okay for us. We will see here the opponent going for the Thunder Punch. We still have 2 Water type Pokemon in the back, and they swap onto the Azumarill, which is honestly, for me, the best kind of possible way of things happening. Because the thing here for us is that you're going to be able to just go for the Hydro Cannons, and Hydro Cannon is going to be totally fine, as we will see as well. We're going to try to go for some more charge moves against the opponent, and like it's going to be totally fine because we're going to get the opponent kind of low, and we don't even go down here from the opponent either. And so I'm kind of happy. I still got to have my shield left later on for the Politoed against the opponent's Typhlosion. We need to keep that shield for potential Thunder Punch. But not only this, we're going to be even able to get to another charge move here, forcing the KO. And so we have alignment, and the Fire type all of a sudden is not against our Fairy type Pokemon. No, it's against our Water type Pokemon. And so we can use a shield here against a guaranteed super effective hit from a Shadow from a Shadow, what's called Typhlosion there. And so the opponent gonna swap out now into the Digger Spear. And while this is looking for a little bit like a bad matchup for us, generally speaking, we were able to get some nice energy, and we can swap out into our Wigglytuff now, which can take the hits, which can still do some damage, which still has the option to go for an Icy Wind, which does super effective damage against the opponent. But also we have to be a bit mindful that we don't get hit later on by a Thunder Punch from the Typhlosion. And so I tried to overfarm and then I decided to go for the wrong move here. I sure went for the IC Wind. Now the opponent still has a very solid chance, but they decide to use a shield, and that's going to be great as I swap out of here, because if I survive one charge move here, I'm going to be fine, but they don't even get to that move yet in time, and they decide to forfeit this battle. Bigger Spears are our next opponent here as well. We're going to be able to swap out into our Feraligatr. Feraligatr is going to be able to take those hits, but also can dash out some nice super effective damage with the Hydro Cannon. As the opponent decides to use a shield, we are going to no shield here most likely. Exactly, Scorching Sun is coming through. We rather keep the shields for our Politoed. If the opponent stays in like this, they're definitely going to be weak against Politoed later on as well. As we will see here, they're going to be the Feraligatr coming in. They're still forced to go for a charge move here. We will use a shield very likely with our Wigglytuff against the opponent, because you have to kind of think about it. How can I use my shields the best kind of way? You never guarantee that there's going to be more opportunities later on to use the shield, and so if you have a charge move coming up against you on a Pokemon that you know still has some play against the opponent, for example here Wigglytuff going to have some play still with the Icy Wind and the Charm damage, then it's rather better to shield up a guaranteed hard hitting hit instead of just basically hoping that the opponent going to have something harder hitting later on. And I feel like this was the best way, because at this point it looks like that the best move to shield up against our Pokemon that we had there in lead against the Wigglytuff was that Hydro Cannon. And so we will see as well that I'm going to go for the Weather Ball against the opponent's Annihilate. Basically, we still have the Icy Wind stored, I think, and so as long as you're going to be able to get the full farm now done here with either my Politoed or my Wigglytuff, we should be kind of fine doing some super effective damage against the opponent here. Fast move coming through. I'm still going to go for another fast move, because we actually still have to get to another charge move in time afterwards, so it's not actually clear that we're going to be able to win this one. We have to hope that we can survive a hit, but sadly the opponent still gets in the move here, and while they have a low HP, they're still going to be capable of knocking us out, even with that debuff. Very close one for sure, but as we will see as well, the Dunsparce is coming in against us next, and this is going to be a matchup that we're going to have to stay in, because looking at our backline, Politoed is fine. Politoed is totally fine against the opponent here. I think this is going to be totally okay for us. As we will see as well, the Icy Wind is going to now connect against the opponent. This is going to be definitely great, because we're going to get the attack drop onto them, and we should be able to align ourselves here, hopefully. But then again, it is a bit of a tricky one, because as we will see as well, we're going to have the opponent still getting to move here, knocking us out, and we only get one fast move in with the Feraligatr. This is not ideal, but as you will see, the opponent is going to have the Wigglytuff in the back. We were able to swap out, and this is going to allow us to get some Weather Ball damage and some Bubble damage in against the Wigglytuff, but we sadly see already that it is going to be a bit of a trickier one here, as the fast move pressure of Charm is so oppressive that we're gonna go down very, very soon with all the damages coming in, but we're gonna get both shields from the opponent. That is really important, because now, all of a sudden, we're gonna be able to go for the Hydro Cannon. This is hopefully going to be enough to knock them out, but I'm not too sure if it's actually going to be the case. Let's find out here. It's going to be the Azumarill coming back in. We're gonna try our best here to go for the Hydro Cannon against the opponent. How is this gonna go for us? We will see here the Hydro Cannon going to connect, going to do some solid damage, but not enough to really put them into a range where we could knock them out yet. So we have to hope that we somehow still win this one. We will see a charge coming through. We still have a shield left, and I think the shield is our only hope. We decided to use a shield here, and we should have never done this, because it's going to be the Ice Beam. And this kind of sad thing about this one here, we kind of had to guess which one is the one that you want to go for, like where do we want to use our shield. And the opponent was actually able to bait us, and what we're going to see here now is that they actually are not running the move that I expected. It's not play rough, they're running Hydro Pump, and they're going to win this battle very, very closely. And here's the thing as well, basically, the thing currently is that there are a lot of battles here that are lost, that they're really, really, really close to us winning the battle. So like, it is not that we're gonna be like getting destroyed with this team either. This team is very consistent. This team has a lot of play, and honestly, Politoed is very consistent. You have consistent fast move pressure, you have consistent charge move pressure, you have solid coverage as well. For this team, I feel like Earthquake would be better as a coverage, but here we actually see Ice Beam coming through. I think this was the first time that we actually use Ice Beam here, and it's going to come in clutch as well, because we're all of a sudden going to be able to align ourselves. And with us, Dragonair's up against our Wigglytuff, but they're going to have a Toxapex in the back, and that is going to be very, very difficult for us to deal with, because Toxapex is going to be a Pokemon that has access to a typing that's going to resist both the fast move of Wigglytuff as well as the charge moves of our Feraligatr. but also does some very solid damage, especially against the Wigglytuff with that poison typing. And so this is the one Pokemon that I did not want to face with this team as well. And as we'll see here, we still got some Hydrocans off. The opponent still has a shield left, and we have the Steampita here, and it could have not been better for us. The Steampita is super important because now the opponent goes for a charge move. It is very likely going to be the Sludge Wave to knock us out here. And we're gonna have still the option to go for the Swift. We need to go for 3 fast moves against the opponent in order to get to the Swift, but we have to hope now that we have enough health left in order to deal with that Dragonair in the back. Can we deal with it? It's still gonna be able to go for a move, but their best move is now Awkward Tail, as Body Slam got nerfed to the ground. And if they had Body Slam still left, in terms of the damage that we had before this season, then this Pokemon would have been able to knock us out. But luckily, we're going to be able to win this battle here now. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye bye.